Constitutional monarchy is an odd form of government that the English stumbled into in the 17th century, but it has proven to be the world's most successful form of government and the best protector of our civil liberties. I once considered monarchy an anachronism, and that Australia would be better as an American-style republic with an elected president. I then read a line attributed to Winston Churchill: "The significance of the Crown is not the power it possesses, but the power it denies others." All political systems require an individual to sit atop the power structure. In a republic, that's a president. But with no one above them, ego too often feeds their sense of unlimited destiny, and they are susceptible to morphing into a dictatorship. In a constitutional monarchy, the most powerful person is the Prime Minister or the Premier, but those officers know there is another power above them. The Crown has the power to dismiss a PM or Premier. That happens very rarely, but just having the power in place limits the private ambitions of elected leaders. The fact that the custodian of the Crown gets the job from something as meritless as birth is the key. It cannot be disputed, and so no one bothers spending their life angling to wear the crown. In 1932, the Crown's representative in this state dismissed Premier Jack Lang, and in 1975, Gough Whitlam was dismissed. Both deserve credit for gracefully accepting the umpire's decision and not calling for an uprising. That often happens in republics when there's a high-stakes political impasse. A dismissal results in a fresh election. It is a gloriously democratic system. In 32 and 75, voters emphatically endorsed the decision to dismiss. Most of the nations with the longest records of political stability are constitutional monarchies. Australia, Britain, Canada, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Belgium and the Scandinavian nations are leading examples, but other good examples are found in the Caribbean and the South Pacific. These nations are not wealthy nations, but they are peaceful because their leaders are unable to become tyrants. There are two republics, however, in the Caribbean, Cuba and Haiti, both miserable nations run by despots. When a monarchy is overthrown, a power vacuum is created. And so often this quickly devolves into a bloodbath. Germany, Russia, China, Cambodia, Vietnam, Iraq and Iran are just some examples. The foolish royal families of those nations were absolute monarchs who failed to learn from the British royal family and give power away to a parliament. Now, there is a spectrum of views amongst libertarians on this subject, but my view is constitutional monarchy is entirely consistent with libertarianism as it dilutes power. After the defeat of the Republic in 1999, the Australian Republican Movement, ARM, decided to agree to pause until the passing of Queen Elizabeth. The ARM had over 2 decades to come up with a new Republican model, and in 2022 released the Australian Choice model. It fell flat. It was a convoluted model expecting 11 eminent citizens would contest a presidential election. The ARM failed to recruit eminent constitutional law academics to assist in developing the model, but they did use focus groups to re-engineer a constitution. None other than Paul Keating said in response, "The country would be better off remaining a constitutional monarchy than experimenting with a US-style presidency. Australia is safer and better with the diffuse power structure it currently enjoys." End quote. I would like to pay tribute to Professor David Flint, AM, the convener of Australians for Constitutional Monarchy. David is the finest individual I have met in public life. For decades he has kept aflame the torch of constitutional monarchy. He's always at the barricades of one good cause after another. He is a perfect gentleman, a compelling columnist and endlessly entertaining company. Despite today's good news, we must never let our guard down. We should continue to educate Australians about the underappreciated but sound intellectual principles which underpin constitutional monarchy.